I'm Justin Giori. I'm from Hamilton, New Jersey, and I'm now in the Best Music Coach program. Before joining the program, I was feeling really unfulfilled in regards to really all of my creative endeavors, but particularly music, because that's my number one thing when it comes to being creative. Always has been. But I had fallen away from playing my instrument, and I certainly hadn't even thought about writing music, even though I knew deep down I wanted to do it. There'd been a few years where I wasn't, and I felt really unfulfilled in that. It felt like I was on these railroad tracks in my life, and I didn't like where I saw them leading as a result of not putting myself out there, not trying to do these things that I know would be great for me to learn. And even just to see if I can do it, right? That alone is already worth it. So before starting this program, I would say I definitely wasn't able to write music. Maybe I could have doodled some notes on a sheet, but I didn't really understand the process of creating music. I didn't know that much about music theory aside from things that I intuitively grasp. And since joining, I've learned so much about that specific process and how to go from start basic just rhythms to a full song done, put in FL Studio, mixed, mastered, released. So that's one thing that now I can do. I found Best Music Coach through YouTube, watching a lot of different music channels on YouTube. I always loved seeing the different theoretical analysis of music, especially video game music. And Dan always came right up. I loved watching his videos on some of my favorite video game OSTs. And eventually I saw one video where he was inviting viewers to join the program. And I was like, you know what? What the heck? Let me do this thing. And I went for it. And I'm so happy that I did. Going through the process in the beginning, it felt pretty overwhelming and exciting. I was excited because I knew that this was like an avenue for me to learn again. I'd been thinking I wanted to go back to college, and this is way more accessible than that would have been, and immediately so too. And I was overwhelmed a little bit because there was just so much information available, so many courses. But at the same time, that reassured me that what I was getting was worth it, because that was a worry I had going in. We all have those worries that, like, is this going to be worth my time and my money? There's endless things out there now that are calling for your time and money. That is the internet incarnate. And so it's really good to know that it is worth it. And I would say that it is. From my experience so far with it and everything I still have yet to learn, it's also exciting. And I think it's totally worth it, like I said, because these are very professional people who care first and foremost about your success. They want to see you succeed, and they want to see you get where you want to be in terms of music and music creation. When one of us wins in that regard, we all do. That's just like the nature of music, I think. That, like, the more people we have making music and thinking about music, talking about music, the better for all of us. So despite those fears I had at first, I said yes anyway, because I had this voice in me that when I get nervous about something vague, or I'm just, oh, I don't I'm not sure about this, but I don't know why. Maybe because I don't feel good enough, or I don't feel that I deserve it. That's when it's important to say, no, I don't need to listen to you. I'm going to do this thing anyway. And we're going to go through it kicking and screaming if we have to. And we're going to feel great about it. Because now I have written a piece of music. I released it. I didn't double back on it at any point and give up. I went through and I made it. And it's mine. And it's not perfect, but it was never meant to be. And because it's my first piece, that means I can only grow from here. So that's a great feeling to know that I am just starting this journey, but already feels like I've come so far. So now that I know how to write music, I know how to go through this whole process. That's like so much more power I feel like I have over my own destiny. That sounds dramatic, but it's true. And it's like my own, how I feel about myself. It's a great way to feel better about myself because I'm giving myself constant proof that I can do this. It's not as scary as it seemed. It's something that really I think anyone can do if given the right motivation to follow through, to put in the time and to not beat yourself up about it. So if that sounds like you at all, I would say it's really important to, if you're down in the pits of despair and doom and gloom, just take a look at what are the smallest steps you can take going forward, maybe in the next 10 minutes, and start from there. What's the smallest thing I can do that gets me closer to where I want to be? Because every small step helps you take the next one. You build momentum. I would also say it's very important to reach out to someone who you love and trust and just tell them how you're feeling, because sometimes that's all it takes to see things more clearly. If we're stuck in our own heads, it's really hard to see the way out. But once you talk to someone else, it'll seem so clear that you'll feel silly sometimes for getting stuck on it at all. And I think this is a fantastic program, specifically for bringing that out of you. It brought it out of me. It helped me push through a lot of difficult stuff that I've been trying to get through for a while. And so I would say that's thanks a lot in part to the community. And it's just overwhelming positive support from everyone involved, both the professionals and the other members. Everyone is very supportive, and that's huge. I would also say that there's just a wealth of information available to anyone who's in this program. You can ask a question, get an answer very quickly on almost anything. You'll have a really good answer very quickly. So those are two things that are fantastic about it. And overall, can't recommend it enough.